Just dump all 8 grandkids with her to watch and that's it. She doesn't have anything else to do anyway. I stood frozen in my kitchen doorway, the coffee mug trembling in my hand. The voice was Angela's, my daughter, drifting from the living room where she thought she was alone. Her tone was casual, almost cheerful, like she was ordering takeout instead of planning to use me like an unpaid service. "Yeah, Tyler already booked the resort," she continued, laughing now. "Dennis and Beth are doing the same thing. We figured Mom has experience. She knows how to handle all 8 of them. Plus, she already bought the gifts and paid for Christmas dinner. We just show up on the 25th, eat open presents, and that's it." Perfect. Perfect. That word hung in the air like smoke from a fire I hadn't seen coming. I carefully set the mug down on the counter, my hands shaking not from fear, but from something deeper. Something that had been dormant for 12 years, ever since my husband died and left me alone in this world. Rage. Pure crystalline rage. I was Sharon Bennett, 67 years old, widow, mother of 2, grandmother of 8, and apparently nothing more than a convenient solution to my children's vacation plans. I walked away from the kitchen silently, each step on the hardwood floor measured and deliberate. I didn't want her to hear me. Not yet. I climbed the stairs to my bedroom, closed the door, and sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the wall where dozens of family photos smiled back at me. In every single one I was there, always present, always smiling, always holding someone, serving something, organizing everything from the background. But in none of those photos was I the center. In none of those celebrations had anyone thought of me first. I heard Angela's footsteps on the stairs, then her voice calling out, "Mom, I'm heading out. Tyler's waiting." "Okay, honey," I called back, my voice steady. Years of practice. The front door closed. Her car started. I waited until the sound faded completely before I moved. That's when I saw it. Angela's old phone, the one she'd been planning to trade in, sitting on my dresser where she must have left it while using my bathroom. She'd gotten a new one last month, but hadn't wiped this one yet. I picked it up. It unlocked with her old passcode, the same one she'd had for years, 0815. Her wedding anniversary. Not my birthday. Never my birthday. The screen showed her messages app still open, and there at the top was a group chat I'd never seen before. Christmas escape plan. My finger hovered over it. I knew I shouldn't. I knew this was private. But that word escape pulled at something in my chest. I opened it. The messages went back 3 months. September 15th. "Dennis, so we're really doing this. Both families gone for Christmas. Angela, why not Mom won't say no? She never does. Beth, Tyler, and I are in. What about the kids, Angela? Just leave them with Mom. Free childcare, free Christmas dinner. She loves it. Dennis, perfect. Last year she even stayed up all night with the sick kids while we partied. She won't mind." October 3rd, Angela. I booked the resort. 4 days, 3 nights. Beach view, adults only. Beth, your mom is a lifesaver, we're booking too. Dennis, should we tell her soon? Angela, why, she'll just say yes anyway. Let's tell her closer to Christmas. November 20th, Tyler. Guys, shouldn't we at least offer to pay Sharon something? Angela, for what? She's their grandmother. This is what grandmas do. Dennis, Tyler has a point though. What if she says no? Angela, she won't. Trust me, Mom lives for this stuff. She has nothing else. I read through every message, every casual dismissal, every assumption. Every time they talked about me like I was a vending machine. Insert request receive service. No thank you. Required. The phone slipped from my hands onto the bed. I stared at it, this glowing rectangle of betrayal, and something inside me cracked. Not dramatically, not with tears or screaming. It was quieter than that. It was the sound of a foundation finally giving way after decades of bearing too much weight. I walked to my closet and pulled out the gift bags I'd been collecting for 3 months. 8 carefully chosen presents, a building set for Mason Dennis's oldest, a bicycle for Emma Angela's daughter, clothes, toys, books. Each one selected with thought, purchased with money from my pension money I'd saved by skipping my own needs. Total $1,200. Then there was the grocery receipt tucked in my desk drawer. Christmas dinner for 18 people. Turkey sides, desserts, drinks. I'd prepaid the whole order. Total $900, $2,100 of my money. For people who thought I had nothing else to do. I sat down at my desk and opened the bottom drawer where I kept old photo albums. Not the digital kind, the real ones with actual photographs you could touch. I opened the one from 2 years ago. There, my 65th birthday. I remembered that day with painful clarity. I'd woken up with a small flutter of hope. Maybe this year would be different. Maybe Angela would remember. Maybe Dennis would show up with the kids. Maybe someone would make me feel like my existence mattered. I'd baked myself a small cake, feeling ridiculous for doing it, and waited. I made coffee in case someone came. I straightened the living room. I wore a nice dress. By 8 p.m., my phone still hadn't rung. At 9:47 p.m., I got a text from Angela. "Sorry, Mom. The day got away from me. Happy belated birthday. Dennis never texted at all." I'd eaten a slice of cake alone in my dark kitchen, looking at my reflection in the window, wondering when I'd become invisible to my own children. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part came 3 days later when I saw Angela's Instagram post photos from her friend Jessica's birthday party. The same night as my birthday. Fancy restaurant. Champagne. Angela laughing in a sparkly dress. The caption, "Best birthday celebration ever, love you, Jess." She hadn't been too busy. She'd made a choice. I flipped through more pages. Found the photo from 3 years ago, the pneumonia incident. It had been a bad case. The doctor told me I needed absolute rest and someone to take care of me. I'd called Angela first. "Mom, I can't. Tyler has a work thing and the kids have activities. But I can send you some soup later." The soup never came. I called Dennis. "Mom, this week is crazy. I've got back-to-back meetings. Can you manage? I'll call you later." He didn't call. I spent 2 weeks alone, dragging myself to the kitchen to make soup with shaking hands, taking medicine while running a fever, sleeping through sweats and chills with no one to put a cool cloth on my forehead. But I remembered something else from that time. A memory from 25 years earlier. Angela at 16, burning with fever from the flu. I'd taken 3 days off work unpaid to sit with her. I'd stayed up all night changing her sheets when she sweated through them, holding her hair back when she was sick, singing to her when she was scared. "Thanks, Mom," she'd said when she finally felt better. "You're always there when I need you. Always there when they needed me. Never there when I needed them." I looked at my reflection in the dresser mirror. Gray hair pulled back in a practical bun. Lines around my eyes from 67 years of living. Hands that had worked as a nurse for 30 years before I retired. Hands that had changed diapers, signed permission slips, written checks, prepared thousands of meals. When had these hands stopped mattering? I picked up my phone and scrolled through my contacts until I found the name I was looking for, Cynthia Morrison. My friend of 30 years, the only friend I had left, really. All the others had slowly drifted away as I became more and more absorbed into my role as the family's support system. Cynthia had invited me last week to spend Christmas with her at a small coastal town. I'd said no, of course. I had to be with my family. I dialed her number. It rang 3 times. "Sharon, what a surprise, how are you?" Her voice was warm, genuine. It made my throat tight. "Cynthia," I said, and my voice came out stronger than I expected. "Is your invitation for Christmas still open?" There was a pause. Then carefully, "Of course it is. What happened?" I could have lied. Could have said I just felt like a change. But Cynthia deserved better than that. "I overheard Angela planning to dump all 8 grandkids with me while she and Dennis go on vacation. They've been planning it for months. They already booked resorts. Already decided I'd do it. Never asked. Just assumed. Because apparently I have nothing else to do." "Oh, Sharon." And I found their group chat. 3 months of messages about how I'll never say no and how I'm free childcare. 3 months of taking me for granted. My voice cracked. "Cynthia, when did I become nothing?" "You're not nothing. You've never been nothing. They just stopped seeing you." "Well, I'm done being invisible." I heard her smile through the phone. "What do you need?" "A ride to the beach and permission to choose myself for once." "You've always had permission, honey. You just needed to give it to yourself. I'll pick you up on the 23rd at 8 a.m. Pack light. Bring comfortable clothes. No stress, no obligations. Just you and me and the ocean." "Thank you," I whispered. "Don't thank me. Thank yourself. You're the one being brave." After we hung up, I sat there for a long moment. Then I opened my laptop and pulled up my bank account. I found the order confirmation from Central Market, the $900 Christmas dinner. I clicked the customer service number. "Central Market, how can I help you?" "Hi, I need to cancel an order. The name is Sharon Bennett." There was typing. "Yes, here it is. Large holiday order for 18 people. Turkey full-size desserts. The total is $900. Are you sure you want to cancel? It's scheduled for delivery on the 23rd. Completely sure. May I ask why? We can adjust the order if something's wrong. Nothing's wrong with the order. I just changed my plans. My family changed theirs first. More typing. I understand. The full refund will be processed to your card within 3 to 5 business days. Thank you. I hung up and stared at the screen. $900 coming back to me. $900 I could use for myself. For something that would make me happy instead of people who couldn't even remember my birthday. Next, I looked at the receipt from the toy store. 6 items with receipts. 2 without. I'd start returning them tomorrow. I spent the rest of the day in a strange state of calm. I made myself dinner, a real dinner, not the quick sandwich I usually ate standing at the counter. I sat at the table. I used my good plates. I poured myself a glass of wine. I took my time. At 9 p.m., the doorbell rang. I looked through the window. Angela stood on my porch, a shopping bag in her hand, her face bright with that casual smile I'd seen 1,000 times. I opened the door. Hi, Mom. She held out the bag. I brought some snacks for the kids this weekend. You know how they like their juice boxes and cookies. She started to walk in, but I didn't move aside. Angela, I need to tell you something. She checked her watch, an expensive one, I noticed. A gift from Tyler. Mom, can it be quick? Tyler's waiting in the car. We're supposed to meet Dennis and Beth for drinks. Of course. Always rushing. Always somewhere else more important. I'm not going to be here for Christmas. She blinked. What do you mean not here, Mom? You already decided to use me. I know. I overheard your phone call last week. I also found your group chat. Her face changed. Confusion first, then something harder. You were listening to my private conversations. I was in my own kitchen. You were the one talking freely in my living room. Mom, it's not that serious. It's just a few days. The kids love being with you. When was the last time you invited me somewhere that didn't involve watching your children? The question hung between us. I watched her face, watched her search her memory for an answer. She couldn't find one. Exactly, I said quietly. You can't remember because it's never happened. I only exist when you need something. That's not fair. We've been busy. Busy posting Instagram photos from Jessica's birthday party while forgetting mine. Busy going to yoga class when I was in the hospital with pneumonia. Busy spending money on resorts, but not busy enough to call your mother on her birthday. Angela's face flushed. You're exaggerating. We've always included you. Included. The word came out sharper than I intended. Angela, I wasn't invited to Tyler's birthday party last year. I wasn't invited to your anniversary dinner. The only time you include me is when you need me to do something for you. From the car, Tyler's horn honked. Once impatient. Angela glanced back, then turned to me with her jaw set. Fine. So what do you want? Money? Is that what this is about? Her words hit me like a slap, as if the problem was money, as if I could be bought back into compliance with a check. I don't want your money, Angela. I want you to see me. I want you to value me. But I realize now that's never going to happen. So I've decided to do something different this year. What? See? I'm going on a trip. I'm leaving tomorrow morning and I won't be back until after New Year's. The silence that followed was thick enough to touch. Angela stared at me like I'd just spoken in a foreign language. You're going on a trip, Mom. You can't be serious. I'm completely serious. But everything's already planned. The kids are expecting to come here. We told them they'd be spending Christmas with Grandma. Then you'll have to change your plans, just like I changed mine. Angela took a step back, her eyes wide. You can't do this to us. It's Christmas. It's family time. Family time, I repeated, tasting the words. But I don't count as family, do I? I only count as the one who solves everyone's problems. You're being ridiculous. Of course you're family. When was the last time you did something for me that didn't benefit you? She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. Nothing came out. That's what I thought, I said. Angela's face began to redden, her eyes shining with what might have been tears or might have been rage. I recognized that expression. It was the same one she used to get as a little girl when she didn't get her way. And what are we supposed to do with the kids Tyler and I already paid for the resort? We already made reservations. We can't just cancel everything. That's not my problem. It's not your problem. Her voice rose. They're your grandchildren. Yes, they're my grandchildren, but they are your children. Your responsibility, not mine. She shook her head slowly like she couldn't believe what she was hearing. I don't recognize you. This isn't you. You're right. This isn't the woman you've known your whole life. That woman let herself be walked all over. This is the new version who's decided that enough is enough. And you're going to do this? You're going to ruin your grandchildren's Christmas just to make a point. Her words were designed to make me feel guilty, and they worked for about 3 seconds. Then I remembered the group chat, the casual dismissal, the months of planning without considering me at all. I'm not ruining anything, I said, my voice steady. You ruined the respect you should have had for me years ago. I'm just picking up what's left of my dignity. Angela pulled out her phone. This is insane. I'm calling Dennis. He needs to talk some sense into you. Call whoever you want. My decision isn't going to change. She dialed her fingers, jabbing at the screen. She put it on speaker. Dennis answered on the 3rd ring. Hey, what's up? Dennis, I'm at Mom's and she just told me she's not going to be here for Christmas, that she's going on a trip. Tell her this is absurd. There was a pause. Mom, is that true? Yes, Dennis, it's true. But why did something happen? Many things happened, for many years, and I finally decided I deserve better than being treated like your employee. No one treats you like an employee. You're our mother. Then when was my last birthday, Dennis? Silence on the other end. I'll tell you. August 15th, 4 months ago. You didn't call? You didn't text? Nothing. Mom, I was busy with work. You're always busy. Everyone is always busy, except when you need me for something. Then you find the time. Angela jumped in. This isn't fair. You're punishing us for something we didn't even know bothered you. It bothered me because you never stopped to ask. You never cared how I felt. You only cared about what I could do for you. Dennis's voice came through the speaker tighter now. Mom, we can talk about this after Christmas, but right now we need you to be available, I finished for him. That's the word you're looking for. Well, guess what? I'm not anymore. Then what are we supposed to do? His voice had moved from concerned to irritated. We've already paid thousands of dollars for these trips. I paid $900 for the dinner you were going to eat. I paid $1,200 for gifts you were going to open. That money matters too. Or at least it should. Wait, Dennis said slowly. You canceled the dinner and the gifts. I returned them, every single one, and I got my money back. The silence on both ends of the phone was absolute. Finally, Angela spoke, her voice shaking. I can't believe you did that. The kids are going to be devastated. The kids are going to be fine. They're resilient. What won't be fine is if they keep growing up thinking that grandmas only exist to serve them. Angela put her phone away, her eyes shining with unshed tears, but I couldn't tell if they were tears of sadness or fury. Fine, she said. Go, take your trip, but don't expect things to go back to the way they were when you get back. I don't want things to go back to the way they were. That's exactly the point. She turned and started walking toward her car. Then she stopped and looked back at me over her shoulder. You're going to regret this. The only thing I regret is not doing it sooner. I watched her get into the car where Tyler was waiting. Even from a distance, I could see her tense body language as she told him what happened. The car started with a jolt and disappeared down the street, taillights fading into the darkness. I closed the door and leaned against it. My hands were shaking. My heart was pounding. But I didn't feel bad. I felt free. I went upstairs and continued packing. I folded each item of clothing carefully, thinking about the beach, about the sun, about conversations without pressure. I packed the swimsuit I'd bought 3 years ago, but never used because there was never time for me. I added my favorite book, the one I'd tried to read 5 times but was always interrupted. This time I'd finish it. I was putting in a new journal when my phone started ringing. Dennis. I didn't answer. He called 3 more times. Then Angela, then Tyler, then Beth. They all wanted to convince me. They all wanted me to go back to my place, the place where I was useful but invisible. I turned off my phone. The silence that followed was beautiful. I sat on my bed and looked at my half-packed suitcase. It was small. I didn't need much. I just needed space to breathe. Around 11 p.m., I turned my phone back on just to check for emergencies. The screen lit up with notifications. 27 missed calls. 43 text messages. I scrolled through them. Angela, Mom, where are you? We need to talk. Angela, the kids are asking about Christmas. Angela, you're really doing this. Angela, I called Tyler's parents. They can't help. We have nowhere to leave the kids. At Angela to 14 a.m. I hope you're happy. I couldn't sleep all night. Dennis. Mom, this is insane. Dennis. Beth is scrambling to find childcare. Do you know how much that costs? Dennis. You owe us an explanation. Dennis. We lost money because of you. Tyler. Sharon Angela is in tears. This is affecting her health. Please reconsider. Beth. I don't understand what we did wrong. We've always treated you with respect. I read each message without feeling what I expected to feel. I didn't feel guilt. I didn't feel an urge to respond. I just felt a clear distance between them and me. Then I saw a message from a number I didn't recognize. Own. Sharon, this is Linda Chen, your neighbor. Angela and Dennis were at your house banging on the door for 2 hours this afternoon. Angela was shouting things about you abandoning the family. I'm worried about you. Are you safe? Do you need anything? So they'd come back. They'd made a scene. They'd tried to paint me as the villain. I replied to Linda, thank you for your concern, Linda. I'm safe and well. I'm going away for the holidays to choose my own peace for once. If they come back, please don't engage. This is between us. Linda responded immediately. Understood. Have a peaceful holiday, Sharon. You deserve it. Someone thought I deserved peace. Even if it was just my neighbor, it was more than my own children had said in years. I turned off my phone again and put it at the bottom of my suitcase. Then I walked to my desk and opened my new journal to the first page. I picked up a pen and began to write. December 22nd. Today I chose myself. For the first time in 12 years, maybe for the first time in my life, I chose my own peace over the expectations of others. And I don't regret it. Angela called me selfish. Dennis called me crazy. But the truth is simpler than that. I'm tired of being invisible. I'm tired of being useful, but not valued. I'm tired of giving everything and receiving nothing. Tomorrow I leave for the beach. I don't know what I'll find there. But I know what I'm leaving behind, a lifetime of being taken for granted. If that makes me selfish, then I'll be selfish. Because the alternative, disappearing completely while still being physically present, is something I can't do anymore. I am Sharon Bennett. I am 67 years old, and I finally decided that I matter. I closed the journal and placed it on top of my folded clothes. Then I lay down on my bed, still fully dressed, and stared at the ceiling. For the first time in weeks, I slept soundly. No anxiety dreams, no waking up at 3 a.m. worrying about Christmas preparations, just deep restorative sleep. December 23rd dawned clear and cold. I woke before the sun, not from anxiety, but from anticipation. I took a long shower, letting the hot water wash away the last remnants of doubt. I dressed in comfortable clothes, cotton pants, and a light sweater. Nothing fancy. Nothing that needed ironing or coordinating. Just clothes that made me feel like myself. I went downstairs and made coffee. While it brewed, I looked around my house. Everything was clean, tidy, empty. There were no Christmas decorations this year. No tree, no lights, no stockings hung with care. It was just a house. And for the first time in years, that felt like enough. At exactly 8:00 a.m., I heard a car horn outside. I looked out the window and saw Cynthia's old Honda in my driveway. Cynthia herself waving from the driver's seat with a huge smile. I picked up my suitcase, just one small bag, everything I needed for a new beginning, and walked to the door. I paused with my hand on the knob and looked back at my house one last time. All those photos on the wall. All those memories of being in the background. All those years of being needed but not appreciated. I was leaving them behind. Not forever, but for now. I opened the door and stepped out into the cold December morning. Cynthia got out of the car and hugged me tight. "Ready for an adventure?" she asked. I looked at her, really looked at her. This woman who had stayed my friend through everything, who had never asked me for more than I could give, who had always seen me as Sharon, not as someone's mother or grandmother. "More than ready," I said. She helped me put my suitcase in the trunk. As I settled into the passenger seat and buckled my seatbelt, my phone buzzed in my purse. I pulled it out. "Angela, Mom, please, can we talk?" I stared at the message for a long moment. Then I turned my phone off and put it back in my purse. Cynthia started the car and we pulled out of my driveway. As we drove away, I watched my house get smaller and smaller in the side mirror until it disappeared completely. "How are you feeling?" Cynthia asked gently. I thought about it. Really thought about it. I feel like I've been holding my breath for 12 years, I said slowly. And I'm finally exhaling. She reached over and squeezed my hand. Good. Now let's go find out who Sharon Bennett is when she's not busy being everyone else's solution. As we merged onto the highway and the city disappeared behind us, I felt something I hadn't felt in longer than I could remember. Hope. Not the desperate hope that my children would finally see me. Not the anxious hope that this Christmas would be different. But a quiet, solid hope that maybe, just maybe, I could build a life where I mattered to myself. And maybe that was enough. Maybe that was everything. The highway stretched out before us like a promise. Cynthia had made a playlist, nothing Christmassy, just soft folk music that filled the silence without demanding attention. For the first hour, we didn't talk much. I watched the landscape change through the window as the city gave way to suburbs, then to open fields, then to small towns that appeared and disappeared like thoughts. You know what I did when my son tried this? Cynthia said, suddenly breaking the comfortable quiet. I turned to look at her. What do you mean 3 years ago? David, you remember David, right? I nodded. Her son, the architect, married to that woman who always wore too much perfume. He called me in April and said, Mom, Jennifer and I are going to Fiji for our anniversary. 2 weeks. We need you to watch the kids. Just like that. Not can you? Not would you mind, just we need you. Like I was the hired help. What did you do? She smiled, keeping her eyes on the road. I told him I had plans. He didn't believe me at first. Said, what plans? You're retired. As if being retired meant I had nothing but empty time waiting to be filled with his needs. Did he get angry? Furious. Called me selfish. Said he couldn't afford a nanny for 2 weeks. I told him that wasn't my problem, that he chose to have children and they were his responsibility. She glanced at me. He ended up paying $3,000 for child care. You know what happened after? What? He called me when they got back. Apologized. Said the nanny made him realize what I'd been doing for free all those years. Now when he asks me to babysit, he actually asks. He offers to pay. He says thank you. He remembers my birthday. She reached over and squeezed my hand. Sometimes people need to lose you to remember they have you. Her words settled over me like a warm blanket. What if they don't come back? Then you'll know they never valued you in the first place. And Sharon, that's valuable information too. We arrived at Seaside Cove around 2 p.m. It was exactly as Cynthia had described, a small town that seemed to exist outside of time. Pastel-colored houses lined cobblestone streets, small shops with hand-painted signs, a marina where fishing boats bobbed gently in the winter sun, and beyond it all the ocean stretching endlessly toward the horizon. The house Cynthia had rented was modest but perfect. White clapboard siding, blue shutters, a small porch with 2 rocking chairs. Inside everything was simple and clean. Hardwood floors, white walls, large windows that let in the pale December light. This is your room, Cynthia said, opening a door off the hallway. It was small, a double bed with a white quilt, a nightstand, a dresser, and a window that looked directly at the ocean. I set my suitcase down and walked to that window. The water was steel gray under the winter sky waves rolling in with patient persistence. A few seagulls wheeled overhead, their cries sharp and free. When was the last time I just stood still? I whispered. Cynthia appeared in the doorway. Too long, I'd guess. I turned to her. Thank you for this, for seeing me. Sharon, you don't have to thank me for basic human decency. That's what real friendship looks like. That afternoon we walked on the beach. The sand was cold and damp, the wind sharp with salt. I let the water lap at my feet, soaking through my shoes. I didn't care. It felt like baptism, like washing away old skin. Are you going to check your phone? Cynthia asked as we walked back to the house. I'd been avoiding it, but I knew I had to look eventually, not to respond, just to know. Back at the house, I sat on the couch and turned my phone on. It took a moment to boot up, and then the notifications started flooding in. 53 missed calls, 89 text messages, 12 voicemails. I started scrolling through the messages, and Cynthia sat beside me reading over my shoulder. Angela, 30 messages. Mom, where are you? This is ridiculous. The kids are crying. Tyler lost $2,400 on the hotel. You're ruining Christmas. I can't believe you're doing this. Do you even care about your grandchildren? Fine, don't respond. We'll remember this. 47 a.m. I hope you're happy. I couldn't sleep all night thinking about how selfish you're being. Dennis 15 messages. Mom, this is insane. Call me back now. Beth found childcare, $600 per day. Do you know how much money you're costing us? We're your children. You owe us an explanation. Tyler 5 messages. Sharon Angela is devastated. This isn't good for her stress levels. The kids don't understand why Grandma abandoned them. Please reconsider. I never thought you could be this cold. Beth 8 messages. Sharon, I'm confused. What did we do wrong? I thought we always treated you well. Dennis is very upset. This is affecting our whole family. I read through them all, my face carefully neutral. Cynthia watched me waiting. How do you feel? She asked quietly. I paused, searching for the right word. Nothing. I thought I'd feel guilty. I thought I'd want to fix it. But I just feel distant, like these messages are about someone else. Then I saw a message from a number I didn't recognize. Unknown number, Sharon. This is Linda Chen, your neighbor. I need to tell you something that happened yesterday afternoon. Angela and Dennis came to your house around 3 p.m. They were banging on the door, shouting. Angela was crying, saying you'd abandoned the family. Dennis was on his phone, pacing. They were there for almost 2 hours. Other neighbors came out to see what was happening. I'm worried about you. Are you safe? Please let me know you're okay. My hands tightened on the phone. What is it? Cynthia asked. I showed her the message. She read it, her expression darkening. They tried to make a public spectacle. They wanted the neighbors to think you were the villain. They wanted to pressure me through shame. Are you going to respond to Linda? I typed carefully. Thank you for letting me know, Linda. I'm safe and well. I'm away for the holidays, choosing my own peace for the first time in years. If they come back, please don't engage. This is between me and my children. I appreciate your concern. Linda responded within seconds. I understand. Enjoy your peace, Sharon. You've earned it. The neighborhood has always thought you were too good to them anyway. I stared at that last sentence. Even the neighbors had noticed. Everyone had seen it except me. Or maybe I had seen it, but I'd been too afraid to admit it. I put my phone down. I'm turning it off. Good, Cynthia said. You're here to rest, not to manage their crisis. It's strange, I said. I spent 12 years afraid of being alone. But now that I've chosen to be alone, I don't feel lonely at all. That's because there's a difference between chosen solitude and forced isolation. One is freedom. The other is abandonment. December 24th dawned bright and cold. I woke to the sound of seagulls and the distant crash of waves. For a moment I forgot where I was. Then I remembered I was free. I got up slowly, my body stiff from the unfamiliar bed, and walked to the window. The ocean was different this morning, calmer, the surface like hammered silver under the rising sun. A few people were already walking on the beach, their figures small against the vastness of sand and sea. In the kitchen, Cynthia had already made coffee. The smell drew me like a prayer. Good morning, she said, handing me a steaming mug. How did you sleep? Better than I have in years. We had breakfast on the small porch toast, fresh fruit orange juice. Simple food that tasted like freedom because no one was waiting for me to serve them next. Ready for the market? Cynthia asked. The local Christmas market was the town's main event. We walked there together, bundled in coats against the December chill. The streets were more crowded than yesterday, but it wasn't the frantic Christmas rush I was used to. People moved slowly, smiled easily, stopped to chat with neighbors. The market was set up in the town square, small wooden stalls selling handmade crafts, local art, homemade foods. Christmas music played from a speaker somewhere, but it was soft, almost soothing. I stopped at a stall where an elderly woman was selling woven bracelets. Her hands were gnarled with arthritis, but they moved with practiced grace as she worked on a new piece. They're beautiful, I said. She looked up and smiled. Deep wrinkles creased her face, but her eyes were bright. Thank you, dear. I make them myself. Each one is unique. I picked up one in shades of green and white ocean colors. How much? $15. I paid her and slipped it onto my wrist. It felt light, almost weightless, but somehow significant. Looks good on you, the woman said. New beginnings suit green and white. How did you know? She winked. I'm 73 years old, honey. I recognize the look of a woman who's just decided to start choosing herself. Wear it in good health. We browsed the market for another hour. I bought a small handmade journal with a fabric cover, $12. When the vendor asked what I'd use it for, I surprised myself by saying, "To remember who I am." "Best use for a journal I've heard all day," she said with a smile. Around noon, we went back to the house. It was hot now, unusually warm for late December. Cynthia suggested we spend the afternoon at the beach. "I don't know if I can," I said, looking down at myself. "I haven't worn a swimsuit in 3 years. "So the ocean doesn't care what you look like. Besides, you're not doing it for anyone else. You're doing it for you." In my room, I pulled out the swimsuit I'd packed, a simple one-piece in navy blue. I looked at myself in the mirror before putting it on. My body had aged. There were wrinkles, stretch marks, the soft looseness that comes with 67 years of living. But this body had carried 2 children. This body had worked 30-hour shifts as a nurse. This body had survived pneumonia alone. This body had brought me here to this moment of choosing myself. "Thank you," I whispered to my reflection. "Thank you for carrying me this far." We spent the afternoon under an umbrella on the beach. Cynthia read a mystery novel. I just sat watching the waves, feeling the sun on my skin. Families played nearby, parents building sandcastles with children, couples walking hand in hand. Everyone looked peaceful. No one looked stressed. "You know what I don't miss?" I said suddenly. "What?" In the panic. Every Christmas for the past 12 years, I've been in a state of constant panic. Did I buy enough food? Are the presents wrapped? Is the house clean? Will everyone be happy? And even when I did everything perfectly, no one was happy. They were just satisfied, like I'd met the minimum requirement. And now I'm sitting on a beach on Christmas Eve doing absolutely nothing, and I feel more at peace than I have in years. Cynthia reached over and squeezed my hand. "That's because you're finally giving yourself what you've been giving everyone else, care." Christmas morning, I woke without an alarm. It was 9 a.m. late by my usual standards. In past years, I would have been up at 5 a.m. starting the turkey, preparing side dishes, setting the table. Today, I woke to silence. Beautiful, peaceful silence. Cynthia and I had a late breakfast on the porch, scrambled eggs, bacon, fresh coffee. We ate slowly, watching the morning sunlight dance on the ocean. "Merry Christmas," Cynthia said, raising her coffee mug. "Merry Christmas," I replied. It was the first time in 12 years that those words didn't feel like a burden. We decided to have lunch at the local diner, a small family-run place called The Catch. It was surprisingly busy for Christmas Day, filled with other people who'd apparently also opted out of traditional celebrations. We ordered the special grilled salmon with roasted vegetables. While we waited, I looked around at the other diners. An elderly couple holding hands across the table. A woman about my age reading a book, dining alone and looking perfectly content. A group of friends laughing over mimosas. Everyone here had chosen to be here. No obligations, no stress, just the simple pleasure of a meal and good company. Our food arrived and it was delicious, the kind of food that's prepared with care, not rushed to feed a crowd. I savored each bite, tasting things fully for the first time in memory. Then my phone rang. I'd turned it back on briefly that morning just to check for emergencies. I'd ignored the flood of messages from Angela and Dennis, but this was a number I didn't recognize. Against my better judgment, I answered. "Mrs. Bennett," a woman's voice professional and slightly stern. "Yes, this is Sarah Chen from Child Protective Services. I'm calling regarding a report we received about 8 children who may have been abandoned by their primary caregiver." My blood ran cold. "What Across the table, Cynthia's eyes widened. "We received a call yesterday from a concerned family member stating that 8 minor children were left without proper supervision because their primary caregiver disappeared without notice. The caller was very concerned about the children's welfare and safety." I closed my eyes. Of course. Of course they would do this. "Ms. Chen," I said, keeping my voice steady, "I am not the primary caregiver of those children. I am their grandmother. Each child has 2 living parents who are fully capable of caring for them. I am 67 years old and on a personal vacation." There was a pause. "I see. The caller made it sound like you were the sole responsible party for these children's care." "The caller lied. May I ask who filed this report?" "I can't disclose that information, but it was a family member who seemed genuinely concerned. Genuinely concerned about manipulating you into pressuring me to come back. Ms. Chen, my daughter is Angela Rivera. My son is Dennis Bennett. Here are their phone numbers and addresses." I recited the information from memory. Each has multiple children. Each is a capable adult with a spouse. The children are safe with their actual parents as they should be. Another pause longer this time. Mrs. Bennet, I apologize for the confusion. Based on what you're telling me, there doesn't appear to be any child welfare concern here. The caller made it sound like I was the only one who could care for them, which is exactly what my children wanted you to believe. It's a manipulation tactic. I understand. Her voice had softened considerably. I'm sorry to have bothered you on Christmas Day. You're free to enjoy your vacation. I'll be following up with the parents to ensure everything is in order. Thank you. And Mrs. Bennet, for what it's worth, good for you. My mother went through something similar with my brother. Sometimes people need to learn that grandmothers are not built-in childcare. I hung up and set the phone down carefully on the table. My hands were shaking not with fear, but with rage so pure it felt like ice in my veins. They called CPS on you, Cynthia said flatly. They tried to make it look like I abandoned children. They tried to create a legal issue to force me to come back. That's not just manipulation, Sharon. That's malicious. I picked up my water glass and drank it all, trying to calm the fury rising in my chest. They were willing to lie to government officials, to potentially create a CPS file with my name on it, all because I dared to say no. What are you going to do? I looked at her. Nothing. I'm going to sit here and finish this delicious salmon. Then I'm going to walk on the beach. Then I'm going to go back to our house and read my book. I'm not going to let them steal my peace. But my hands were still shaking. That evening, after a quiet dinner at the house, I sat on the porch with my new journal. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. The ocean had turned gold. I opened to the first page and began to write. December 25th, Christmas Day. Someone called Child Protective Services and reported that I had abandoned 8 children. It was almost certainly Angela or Dennis, probably Angela based on the description the officer gave. They were willing to potentially damage my reputation with a government agency. They were willing to lie about child abandonment. All because I chose myself for once. I should be angrier, but mostly I'm just sad. Sad that this is who my children have become. Sad that they see me as an object to be controlled rather than a person to be loved. I paused, pen hovering over the page. Then I continued. But I'm also realizing something. This isn't new. This is who they've been for years. I just couldn't see it because I was too busy trying to earn their love through service. I made a list earlier of things I've given up. My career, I quit nursing when Angela was born because mothers should be home. My hobbies, I used to paint, haven't touched a brush in 20 years. My friendships, Cynthia is the only friend I have left. My money, the $2,000 Dennis never paid back, years of holiday dinners, gifts, emergency loans. My health. I delayed cataract surgery to help Dennis with his business expenses. My dignity, always saying yes, always available, always grateful to be needed. And what did I get in return? Forgotten birthdays, ignored illnesses, assumptions that my time has no value, children who would rather file false reports than respect my boundaries. But here's what I'm learning. I can't make them see me. I can only see myself. And when I look at myself now, really look, I don't see a failure. I see a woman who was strong enough to walk away, a woman who chose peace over approval, a woman who finally understood that she deserves better. I closed the journal and looked out at the ocean. A few stars were beginning to appear in the darkening sky. How are you doing? Cynthia asked from the doorway. I'm doing okay, I said, and I meant it. It hurts, but it's a clean hurt, like setting a broken bone. It has to hurt before it can heal. She came and sat beside me. We rocked in silence for a while, watching the last light fade from the sky. The days between Christmas and New Year's passed in a gentle rhythm. We woke late. We walked on the beach. We read books on the porch. We cooked simple meals together. We talked about everything and nothing. I checked my phone once a day just for a few minutes. The messages had slowed but not stopped. Angela still angry, still blaming me. Dennis alternating between guilt-tripping and genuine confusion. Beth, trying to play mediator with passive-aggressive undertones. I didn't respond to any of them. On December 31st, we decided to have a small celebration. We went to the market and bought fresh seafood, shrimp, mussels, clams. We cooked it together in the small kitchen, laughing when we couldn't figure out how to use the old gas stove. We set the table with candles and wildflowers we'd picked from the roadside. It wasn't elaborate. It was just nice. To new beginnings, Cynthia said as we sat down to eat. To choosing ourselves, I added. We ate slowly, savoring every bite. The food was simple but delicious, made with care instead of obligation. Around 11 p.m., we took our glasses of sparkling cider up to the porch. We could hear music and laughter from somewhere in town, but we were content in our own quiet space. Do you regret it? Cynthia asked. Leaving? I thought about it. Really thought about it. No, I said. I regret that it had to come to this. I regret that my children couldn't see me until I disappeared. But I don't regret choosing myself. For the first time in my life, I don't regret putting myself first. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I almost ignored it, but something made me check. A text from a number I recognized Tyler's personal cell, not Angela's. Tyler. Sharon, this is Tyler. I'm texting without Angela knowing. I need you to understand something. I told Angela this was wrong. I told her we should have asked you properly, offered to pay you, shown appreciation. She wouldn't listen. She said this is just what moms do. I tried to change her mind. She wouldn't hear it. I stared at the screen, hardly breathing. The message continued. Tyler, I also want you to know that we ended up paying $1,800 for emergency childcare over Christmas. 3 days professional nanny service. It made me realize what you've been giving us for free all these years. Not just the money, the time, the energy, the love. And we never even said thank you. I'm saying it now even though it's too late. Thank you. And I'm sorry. Tyler, I don't expect you to forgive us, but I wanted you to know that at least one person in this family sees what you did. And what we took from you. Angela is still angry. She might stay angry for a while. But you were right to leave. You deserved better than what we gave you. I read the messages 3 times, showed them to Cynthia. He gets it, she said softly. He's not the one who hurt me, though. No, but it means you're not crazy. It means someone finally sees the truth. I didn't respond to Tyler's message, not yet, but I saved it. Proof that I wasn't imagining things. Proof that my hurt was valid. At midnight, the church bells in town began to ring. We heard distant fireworks, saw flashes of light on the horizon. Happy New Year, Cynthia said, raising her glass. Happy New Year, I echoed. We clinked our glasses and drank. The cider was sweet and cold, tasting like possibility. I closed my eyes and made a New Year's resolution, not the kind about losing weight or learning a new skill. A deeper one. This year I will remember that I am a person, not a function. I will remember that my worth is not measured by my usefulness. I will remember that choosing myself is not selfish. It's survival. I opened my eyes and looked at the stars scattered across the sky like diamonds on black velvet. You know what the strangest thing is, I said. What I thought I would miss them. The kids, the chaos, the noise. I thought Christmas would feel empty without it. But it didn't feel empty at all. It felt... I searched for the word. Full, like I was filling space with myself instead of everyone else. That's because you've been empty for so long, Sharon. You forgot what it felt like to be whole. We sat in silence as the new year arrived, bringing with it the promise of change. In 2 days, we'd drive back to reality. Back to my house, my life, my choices. But I was different now, stronger, clearer. And whatever happened when I got back, I knew one thing for certain: I would never be invisible again. January 1st dawned gray and cool. Cynthia and I spent the day slowly packing, cleaning the rental house, saying goodbye to the small town that had given me back to myself. As I took one last walk on the beach, I thought about what was waiting for me. Angela's anger, Dennis's confusion, the mess I'd left behind by choosing myself. Part of me was afraid, but a larger part, the part that had been awakened these past 10 days, was ready. Ready to face them, ready to stand firm. Ready to demand the respect I should have asked for years ago. Ready to go? Cynthia asked when I returned to the house. I looked at the ocean one more time, memorizing the sound of the waves, the smell of salt air, the feeling of peace. Ready to go back, I said, not ready to back down. We loaded the car and began the drive home. As the coastal town disappeared in the rearview mirror, I didn't feel sad. I felt prepared, because I'd learned something crucial in those 10 days by the sea. My peace didn't depend on my children changing. It depended on me refusing to change back. And I never would. We arrived at my house around 2 p.m. on January the 2nd. The street looked exactly the same, quiet suburban ordinary. But I felt different looking at it. This wasn't the prison I'd escaped from. It was just a house. A place I happened to live. Not a place that defined me. Cynthia helped me carry my suitcase to the door. "Do you want me to stay for a while?" I thought about it. Part of me wanted her there as a buffer, but this was something I needed to face alone. "I'll be okay," I said. "But thank you for everything." She hugged me tight. "Call me if you need anything, day or night. And Sharon, don't let them make you feel small again." "I won't." I watched her drive away, then turned to face my front door. I unlocked it and stepped inside. The house was exactly as I'd left it. Clean, quiet, empty. No decorations, no mess, no evidence that Christmas had happened here at all. I carried my suitcase upstairs and unpacked slowly, deliberately. I hung the painting I'd bought the woman looking at the ocean on my bedroom wall where I could see it every morning. A reminder. I was putting away the last of my clothes when I heard a car door slam outside. Then another. I walked to the window and looked down. 2 cars in my driveway. Angela's silver SUV, Dennis's black sedan. They'd come together. United front. I took a deep breath, smoothed down my shirt, and went downstairs. I opened the door before they could knock. Angela and Dennis stood on my porch shoulder to shoulder. Their faces were hard rehearsed. They'd planned this. "Mom," Dennis said. His voice was controlled, almost formal. "We need to talk." "Then talk," I said. I didn't move aside, didn't invite them in. Angela's eyes narrowed. "Aren't you going to let us in?" "That depends on what you came to say." They exchanged a glance. Angela spoke first, her voice tight. "You ruined Christmas. The kids were devastated. Tyler and I lost $2,400 on non-refundable hotel reservations. Dennis and Beth lost almost $2,000. We had to scramble for childcare at the last minute. Do you have any idea what you put us through?" I looked at her calmly. "And how much have I lost over the years?" Dennis stepped forward. "This isn't about money." "Isn't it because every word out of your mouth so far has been about your money, your inconvenience, your stress? Not once have you asked about me." Angela's face flushed. "What do you want from us? An apology, fine. I'm sorry. There, happy now. That's not an apology. That's checking a box so you can go back to using me." "Using you." Dennis's voice rose. "Mom, we're your children. We're not using you. We love you." "Love without action is just noise, Dennis. I've been hearing that noise for 12 years. Angela crossed her arms, her jaw set. "So what now? You're just going to cut us out of your life. You're going to punish your own grandchildren because we made you angry." "I'm not punishing anyone. I'm setting boundaries." "Boundaries?" Angela spat the word like it was poison. "What does that even mean?" I stepped out onto the porch, closing the door behind me. I wanted them to understand this was serious. This conversation was happening on my terms, in my space. "It means from now on, things are going to be different," I said, my voice steady. "I am not free childcare. If you need me to watch the kids, you ask at least 1 week in advance. You offer to pay or trade services. You say thank you." "You want us to pay you to see your own grandchildren?" Angela's voice was shrill with disbelief. "I want you to value my time. If a stranger watching 8 kids for 3 days cost you $1.800, then yes, my time has value. But more than money, Angela, I want respect." Dennis ran his hand through his hair. "This is insane. Family doesn't work this way." "You're right. Family shouldn't work this way. Family should care about each other. But you turned me into a service, not a person. I'm just reclaiming my humanity." Angela's eyes were shining now. Tears or rage, I couldn't tell. "And what else? What other demands do you have?" "I am not your ATM. I won't lend money anymore. I won't pay for family dinners unless I choose to host, and I invite you. I am not invisible. You will remember my birthday. You will include me in family events, not just when you need something. I am not your backup plan. I have my own life now, my own plans. They matter as much as yours." "This is ridiculous," Dennis said, but his voice lacked conviction. "And one more thing," I continued. "You will speak to me with respect, or you won't speak to me at all. That includes no more manipulation, No more calling CPS with false reports. No more public scenes in my driveway. No more group chats where you plan my life without consulting me. Angela's face went white. How did you— I found the chat. Christmas escape plan. 3 months of messages about how I'd never say no and how convenient I am. Did you really think I wouldn't find out? You went through my phone. Angela's voice cracked. That's a violation of privacy. You left it at my house, and I'm glad I looked, because it showed me exactly how you see me, not as your mother, as a resource to be managed. Dennis stepped between us, hands raised. Okay, let's all calm down. I am calm, I said, and I was. Calmer than I'd been in years. I'm just done. Done being taken for granted. Done sacrificing myself for people who can't even remember my birthday. Angela wiped her eyes angrily. You know what someone else told me, that you're the selfish one. That you're punishing us for not reading your mind. That we can't fix problems we didn't know existed. I told you they existed. Every forgotten birthday was me telling you. Every time I was sick and you didn't come was me telling you. Every time you assumed I'd say yes without asking was me telling you. You just didn't want to hear it. Because you always smiled, Angela shouted. You always acted like everything was fine. How were we supposed to know you were keeping score? I wasn't keeping score. I was hoping. Hoping you'd notice. Hoping you'd care. Hoping that eventually the love I poured out would come back to me. It never did. Silence fell over the porch. A car drove past on the street. A dog barked in the distance. The world kept turning. Finally, Dennis spoke, his voice quieter now. So what do you want? For us to just start over? I want you to see me. Really see me. Not as someone who exists to serve you, but as a person with her own needs and limits. Angela shook her head slowly. I can't believe this. I can't believe you called CPS on us. I didn't call anyone. CPS called me. Someone told them I'd abandoned 8 children, that I was their primary caregiver. That was a lie, Angela, and we both know who told it. Her face crumpled. I was desperate. You just disappeared. The kids were crying. I didn't know what else to do. You could have apologized. You could have asked me to come back and promise to do better. Instead, you tried to manipulate me through a government agency. You tried to make me look like a criminal for taking a vacation. I made a mistake. No, a mistake is forgetting to call on my birthday one time. What you did was deliberate. You were willing to potentially damage my reputation to create a false CPS file, all to force me back into compliance. Angela's tears were flowing freely now. Real tears, I thought. But I couldn't let them move me. Not this time. Mom, please, she whispered. What do we have to do? Accept my terms, or don't. But I won't negotiate my dignity anymore. Dennis looked at Angela, then back at me. And if we can't accept them, if this is too much, then we have nothing more to talk about. The door is open when you're ready to treat me with respect, but I won't beg for it. Not anymore. Angela turned and walked toward her car, her shoulders shaking. Dennis lingered for a moment. This isn't over, Mom, he said. But it didn't sound like a threat. It sounded like a promise. I know, I said. But the old way is over. That's what matters. I watched them get into their separate cars and drive away. Neither looked back. I went inside, closed the door, and leaned against it. My legs were shaking. My heart was pounding. But I didn't feel defeated. I felt strong. The first week of January passed in strange quietness. No calls, no texts, no surprise visits. At first I waited for them to break, to reach out, to apologize. Then I realized I was still centering my life around them, still waiting for their approval. So I stopped waiting. I joined a painting class at the community center Tuesday and Thursday mornings. I hadn't touched a brush in 20 years, but my hands remembered. The instructor, a woman named Diane Walsh, was 62 and had a smile that crinkled her whole face. You're good at this, she said, watching me work on a landscape. Have you painted before? Not in 2 decades. I gave it up when my kids were young. Why? It was such a simple question. Why? Because there was never time. I was always taking care of someone else. Diane nodded knowingly. My daughter did the same thing to me, treated me like her personal assistant for years. I finally had to cut her off completely for 6 months. When she came back, she was different. She'd learned that mothers are people too. Did it work out? We're still figuring it out, but at least now she asks instead of demands. And she says thank you. Small victories. I also called my ophthalmologist and scheduled the cataract surgery I'd been putting off for 2 years. The $2,000 I'd gotten back from returns and refunds would cover most of it. Why did you wait so long? The doctor asked during my consultation. I gave the money to my son for his business. He never paid me back. The doctor, a woman in her 50s, gave me a long look. And now? Now I'm choosing my own health first. Good, she said firmly. Your children will survive. Your eyesight won't wait. On January 10th, I joined a book club that met at the local library. 8 women, all between 50 and 75. We were reading Educated by Tara Westover. During the discussion, one woman, Margaret, 72, said something that struck me. The hardest person to escape from is the person you used to be. Everyone nodded. We all understood. After the meeting, Margaret approached me. You're new here. Welcome. What's your story? I almost gave her the sanitized version, the polite version. Then I decided to tell the truth. I spent 12 years being invisible to my own children. Then I disappeared on them for Christmas and came back with boundaries. They're not speaking to me. Margaret smiled. Good for you. My son didn't speak to me for 8 months after I stopped being his free nanny. Now he's my favorite child because he actually learned to appreciate me. How many children do you have? 3. 2 of them still treat me like the help. 1 learned. I'll take the victory. It was oddly comforting knowing I wasn't alone in this. On January 18th, my phone rang with a number I didn't recognize. I almost didn't answer, tired of spam calls. But something made me pick up. Hello, Grandma. A young voice, tentative and scared. My heart stopped. Emma? Emma was Dennis's oldest daughter, 12 years old. Smart, sensitive, always watching everything with those serious brown eyes. Yeah, it's me. She sounded like she was crying. Sweetheart, what's wrong? Are you okay? I'm fine. I mean, I'm not in danger or anything. I needed to talk to you. I asked Dad for your number and he said no, so I told him I'd run away if he didn't give it to me. He gave it to me. Despite everything, I smiled. That was Emma. Fierce when she needed to be. I'm glad you called. I miss you. I miss you too. Her voice broke. But Grandma, I need to say something. Okay. I need to say I'm sorry. Emma, you don't have anything to be sorry for. Yes, I do. Please let me finish. She took a shaky breath. I heard Mom and Dad talking about Christmas, about how you weren't there, and they said it was because you were being selfish, that you just wanted to go on vacation and didn't care about us. My chest tightened. But then I heard them talking to Aunt Angela, and I heard the real story, about how they planned to leave all of us with you without asking, about how they thought you'd just do it because you always do everything, about how they lost money on hotels. Emma. And I realized something, Grandma. We've been using you. All of us. Even me. Every time Mom and Dad said we're dropping the kids at Grandma's, I just went along with it. I never asked if you wanted us there. I never said thank you. I just assumed you liked it. Tears were streaming down my face now. I did like it, sweetheart. I love spending time with you. But that's different from being expected to do it right. That's different from people just assuming you'll always say yes. This child, this wise, beautiful child. Yes, I whispered. That's different. I'm 12 years old, Grandma, but I'm old enough to know that Dad should have asked you, that he should have offered to pay you, that we should all say thank you more. I'm sorry we didn't. Oh, Emma. Also, her voice got quieter. I remember you telling me once about how you used to paint, about how you were a nurse and saved people's lives, about all the things you did before you were just Grandma. And I think maybe we took all those things away from you. And that's not fair. I couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. This child understood what her parents couldn't. Emma, I finally managed. You are 12 years old. None of this is your responsibility. But I'm old enough to know right from wrong. And the way Dad talks about you when you're not around, like you're just there to help him, that's wrong. You deserve better. Thank you, I whispered. Thank you for seeing me. Grandma, yes, I love you. Not because you babysit us or buy us presents, just because you're you. And I think you should paint again. And do whatever makes you happy. You deserve to be happy. I was fully crying now, not even trying to hide it. I love you too, Emma. So much. Can I come visit you sometime? Not for you to watch me, just to hang out. Maybe you could teach me to paint. I would love that more than anything. Okay, I have to go before Dad knows I called this long. But Grandma, don't let them make you feel bad. You were brave. I want to be brave like you when I grow up. She hung up before I could respond. I sat on my couch, phone in my lap, crying into my hands. But they weren't bitter tears. They were tears of hope. Because if Emma could see me, maybe there was hope after all. Not for Angela, maybe not even for Dennis, but for the next generation. For teaching them that love doesn't mean self-erasure. That was worth something. That was worth everything. 3 days later, on a cold January evening, my doorbell rang. It was 7 p.m. I'd been painting in my living room a small landscape of the beach where Cynthia and I had stayed. I looked through the window. Dennis, alone. No Beth, no kids, no Angela for backup. Just my son looking smaller somehow, thinner, tired. I opened the door. Dennis? Hi, Mom. Can I come in, please? I studied his face. He looked like he hadn't slept well in days. His usual confidence was gone, replaced by something vulnerable, something real. I stepped aside. He came in slowly, looking around like he was seeing the house for the first time. His eyes landed on my painting setup in the living room, the easel, the paints, the canvas. You're painting again, he said softly. Yes. It's good. The painting. It's really good. We stood there awkwardly. Finally, I gestured to the couch. Sit. We both sat a careful distance between us. Emma told me she called you, he said. She did. She also told me I was a terrible son. He laughed, but it was hollow. She's 12, and she's right. I waited. Let him talk. He took a deep breath. Mom, I need to tell you something, and I need you to let me finish before you say anything. I nodded. After you left for Christmas, Beth and I had to scramble. We called every babysitter in the area. The only one available on short notice charged $600 per day. For 3 days, that was $1,800. He paused, his hands clasped tightly in his lap. On Christmas morning, the kids woke up crying. Not because there weren't presents, we had presents. They cried because you weren't there, because you always made hot chocolate with the little marshmallows, because you told them stories about Dad, because you made Christmas feel like Christmas. His voice cracked. And I realized, Beth and I don't know how to do that. We don't know how to be the magic. We just handed them to you and let you do all the work. For years. Dennis, please, let me finish. He wiped his eyes roughly. Then Emma said she missed you. And I got angry. I said Grandma's being selfish. And Emma looked at me, really looked at me and said, no, Dad, you're being selfish. Grandma spent 40 years taking care of you. You can't even take care of us for 1 weekend without complaining. He was crying now, not hiding it. She was right. A 12-year-old had to tell me what I should have known all along. And then I thought about Dad, about how he used to look at you, like you were everything, like you were the sun and he was just orbiting around you, like he saw you, really saw you. And I realized I haven't looked at you that way since I was a kid. I've looked at you like hired help, like a problem solver, like someone who existed to make my life easier. Never like my mother. Never like a person with her own life and dreams and needs. He turned to face me, fully, tears streaming down his face. I'm not here to ask you to come back to the way things were. I'm here to say I'm sorry. Really, truly sorry. I'm sorry for taking your money and never paying it back. I'm sorry for not calling when you were sick. I'm sorry for forgetting your birthday. I'm sorry for every time I said, Mom, can you? And never said, Mom, thank you. I'm sorry for treating you like you were invisible. I'm sorry for not seeing you until you disappeared. His shoulders shook with sobs. I don't expect you to forgive me today, or this month, or even this year, but I want you to know that things are going to change. Beth and I are in therapy. We're learning to be parents without using you as a crutch. We're learning to appreciate what we have instead of demanding more. He looked at me with red, swollen eyes. And Emma wants to come see you, not for you to babysit, just to spend time with you. She wants to learn how to paint. Can we do that on your terms? I sat quietly for a long moment looking at my son, seeing him, really seeing him for the first time in years. Not as the person who hurt me, not as the person who took me for granted, but as someone capable of growth, someone capable of change. "Dennis," I said slowly, "look at me." He looked up. "I don't need you to be perfect. I don't need you to never need help. But I need you to see me as a person. Can you do that?" "Yes," he said immediately. "Yes, I can. I will." "Then yes, Emma can come visit. But here are my terms." I laid them out clear and firm. "You ask first. You don't assume. You offer reciprocity. If I watch Emma, you help me with something I need. You remember my birthday. It's not hard. Put it in your phone. You include me in family moments, not just the work moments. And Dennis, you teach your children that grandmothers are people who deserve respect, not servants." "I will," he said. "I promise. All of it." He stood up, and so did I. For a moment, we just looked at each other. Then he opened his arms, hesitantly. I stepped into the hug. It was tentative at first, then tighter, real. "I love you, Mom," he whispered into my hair. "I'm sorry it took losing you to remember how to show it." "I love you too," I said. "But Dennis, I'm not going back to who I was. That woman is gone." "Good," he said, pulling back to look at me. "That woman deserved better than what we gave her. This new woman, I want to get to know her." July 15th, my 68th birthday. I woke up to the smell of coffee and the sound of voices downstairs. For a second, old panic fluttered in my chest. Who was in my house? Then I remembered. I'd given Dennis a key. He'd asked permission. He'd planned this with me. I got up and pulled on my robe, smiling. Downstairs, my backyard had been transformed. String lights hung between trees. A table was set with a bright tablecloth and flowers. Cynthia was there arranging chairs. Diane from painting class was helping. Margaret from book club was setting out plates. Dennis and Beth were in the kitchen with Emma and two of the younger kids. Emma saw me first. "Grandma," she ran over and hugged me. "Happy birthday." "Thank you, sweetheart." Dennis came out of the kitchen carrying a cake. It was lopsided, clearly homemade with "Happy Birthday, Mom" written in shaky frosting. "I made it myself," he said sheepishly. "It's not great, but it's perfect," I said and meant it. The afternoon was simple and beautiful. We ate good food. Emma showed me the painting she'd been working on, a sunset over water. Dennis told embarrassing stories about his kids. Beth actually asked me about my cataract surgery and listened to the answer. Cynthia pulled me aside at one point. "How do you feel?" "Happy," I said simply. "Actually happy." "What about Angela?" I looked across the yard. There was an empty chair at the table. Everyone knew who it was for. "She's not ready yet. Maybe she never will be, but I'm okay either way." Really, because I learned something important. My peace doesn't depend on her. It depends on me. As the sun started to set, Dennis stood up to make a toast. "To Mom," he said, raising his glass, "for teaching us that love means respect, for being brave enough to walk away when we forgot that, for not giving up on us even when we gave up on you, and for showing Emma, showing all of us that it's never too late to choose yourself." Everyone toasted. I looked around at the faces, some family, some friends, all people who saw me. That night after everyone left, I sat on my porch with my journal. July 15th, my 68th birthday. Today was perfect. Not because everything was perfect, but because I felt seen, appreciated, valued. Dennis is trying, really trying. He remembered my birthday. He made me a cake. He's teaching his children that I'm a person, not just a function. Angela wasn't here. That still hurts, but it doesn't destroy me anymore, because I've learned that I cannot control how others see me. I can only control how I see myself. And when I look in the mirror now, I don't see an invisible woman. I see someone who was brave enough to disappear so she could find herself again. I see Sharon, and she's enough. I closed the journal and looked up at the stars. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. My heart skipped. I answered. "Hello, Mom," Angela's voice. Quiet, uncertain. "It's me, Angela. I know I don't have the right to call. I know I've been awful, but I was wondering, can we talk?" I looked at the stars for a long moment, thought about forgiveness, about boundaries, about the difference between the two. Yes, I said finally. We can talk, but Angela, things are different now. I'm different now. I know, she whispered. Emma told me. She said you're happy, that you're painting again, that you finally chose yourself. She's right. I want to understand that. I want to try. Can I come by sometime on your terms? I thought about it. Really thought about it. Next Sunday, I said, 2 p.m., just you. We'll talk, really talk. But I need you to understand something first. What? I'm not going back to being who I was. That woman is gone. If you want a relationship with me, it has to be with who I am now. Who are you now? I smiled at the stars. I'm Sharon Bennett. I'm 68 years old. I'm a painter, a book club member, a friend, a grandmother, and I'm someone who finally learned that she matters. There was a long pause. Then, I'd like to meet her, the new you. I think I never really knew the old you either. Sunday, I said. We'll start there. Thank you, Mom. Don't thank me yet. This won't be easy. I know, but I want to try, if it's not too late. I looked at my reflection in the dark window, a woman who'd found herself by being brave enough to disappear. It's not too late, I said, but it starts with you listening, really listening. Can you do that? I'll try. Then I'll see you Sunday. I hung up and sat in the darkness, feeling the night air on my skin, hearing the distant sound of crickets. I didn't know if Angela would show up. I didn't know if she had really changed or if this was just another manipulation. But I knew one thing for certain. Whatever happened, I would be okay, because I'd finally learned the most important lesson of all. I was never supposed to disappear so others could shine. I was the whole story, not a footnote, not a supporting character, the whole damn story, and I was still writing it.